Shalom, shalom. I am way behind on a lot of things, but I'm trying to catch up. And we just went through a double portion, two Torah portions, Parashat Achavemot and Parashat Kedoshim. This was a double portion that we went through yesterday. Now, to this upcoming Shabbat, our Torah portion is Parashat Emor. But I'm not going to get into Parashat Emor just yet in this video. I want to redirect back to Parashat Kedoshim and talk about two very important verses that stood out to me in the Parasha. If you look at the screen, hopefully you can see it. And the Hebrew, Lo ta'asu aver b'mishpat b'midah b'mishkal uvamsura. You shall not falsify measures of length, weight, or capacity. Okay? And the second verse is Me'oznei tzedek, avnei tzedek, efa tzedek, vehin tzedek, yiyeh lachem, ani Hashem Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim. And it means you shall have an honest balance, honest weights, an honest ephah, and an honest hin. I, the Eternal, am your God who freed you from the land of Egypt. I want to take you to this word, back to this word here in the first posuk. This word right here. I'm just going to highlight that part of the word, midah. Okay, so if you are Jewish and you're observant in any way, this word is not strange to you. We take it to mean character. And during this time, as we count the Omer, many of us are working on building good, strong character traits. We are studying works like Mesilat Yesharim, or for us, we're going through Rav Avigdor Miller's book on Midot. Okay, so one meaning of the word midah is the singular, midot is plural, or if you're Ashkenazi, you'll say midos. Okay, but midah that we understand as a character trait is actually means measure. It's a measurement. So what is the measure of a person? What is the measure of a man? What is the measure of a woman? What is your measure? How do you see yourself? How do you weigh yourself? It all goes back to character. And no, this is talking about literally, you don't have different types of measures, different types of weights or scales, because you don't want to come across that you're going to, defraud anyone, right? So you have to make sure that the things that you use to weigh and to measure, it's according to a specific set standard, and you don't have one that's for this way and one that's way. It's very important for us to be honest. And when it comes to weight, spiritually speaking, weight represents substance. Weight represents kavod, honor. And if we don't have, spiritually, we don't have substance, spiritually, we don't have weight, we cannot withstand the winds of life that comes, when things change, we cannot withstand those things. And like it says in Tehillim 1, that the unrighteous person is like the chaff which the wind blows away. And we don't want to be that. We want to have weight. We want to have honor. We want to have good character traits. Okay, so when we think of this, not many of us have farms or shops or anything like that. Not many of us do. But this is not just, we can't just apply it. We don't just apply it just to, a scale. We apply to ourselves, our character. Okay. Then it says, that's for the first verse. The second verse, honest balance, honest weights, honest effort, and honest end. In other words, how we apply to ourselves, how can apply to ourselves is that we have to be honest about who we are. We have to take inventory of ourselves, and we have to, study about how to improve ourselves, because no matter who we are, we could be the greatest Talmid Chacham. We need to always be working on ourselves. We're always to be working on improving ourselves. In his book, Rabbi says, there are many Talmid Chachamim who don't do anything don't study Mishlei, which teaches us it gives us the musar to develop the good character traits that we so need, And one of the things that my husband said to me a few days ago after reading a portion of the book, he says, I realize that my bad midot they are as a result of my bad attitude. And sometimes we can accept things about ourselves and we say, this is who we are. That's just who I am. It's my personality. It's just who But you're not supposed to stay in that place. Remember, as Jews, our path is always to be on an upward trajectory. So we must constantly be working on ourselves. Okay? This is something from Rabbi's book. It says, we'll listen to what the Gra says in the Sefer Even Shlema. One of the very first statements in that Sefer is Kol Avodot Hashem Teluya Bemidot. The whole service of Hashem depends on character. Everything we do in our lives depends on character. So if we take these two verses literally, that we're not to falsify measures of length and weight or capacity, and we shall have honest balance, honest weights, honest ephah, honest hin. And there are other sections in the Torah that says we shouldn't have two different types of measures in our homes, two different types of scales in our homes. It all comes back to be able to carry out those things. It comes back to character. That's where it starts. So before we can have that, take up that physical measure, let's take measure of ourselves and begin to work on improving the areas in which we are lacking. We all need it. And we all must have a growth mindset, because that is how we are able to carry out our service, not just to Hashem, but to our fellow man. During this time of counting the Omer, we remember the things that happened, that led to the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, the Sinat Chinam, baseless hatred. People weren't working on their characters. Then we remember the 24,000 Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, and how they died from a mysterious illness. And some say that it all stemmed back to Sinat Chinam. So people were being jealous and being mean and being discriminating of one another and spreading Lashon Hara not insulting one another and being in competition with one another, instead of serving Hashem in humility and in love for one another. And the song that I uploaded is from the same parasha, from Parashat Kedoshim. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Ve'ahavta le're'acha kamocha. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. So during this time, let's learn to love one another, work on ourselves, and humbly serve our God with joy, with thanksgiving, and let's grow together as we ascend towards Shavuot and Matan Torah. Have a great week. Shavuot Tov.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו.